Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you? Is JB on with us?
I see I see
Yes.
maybe has joined us, but I don't see the video. I don't see the face just yet.
Okay.
See me
Um
now?
I only see your initials and not your lovely face. Ah, there we go. Yes, absolutely.
How
Now
are you?
now I can say and confirm that I am doing well.
Awesome.
And I want to say
Right
thank
there.
you for the time to talk with you today. I'm looking forward to our conversation. My name is Meek DePriest, and I'm with Fire Media. And I've been a journalist in this area for a long, long time. And have worked with many outlets, from WABE, Georgia Public Broadcasting, Creative Loafing, Upscale. And I am familiar with Peachtree Village Film Festival. I became aware of it many, many years ago, and probably be about the same time that I was with the Black Women Film Network,
Okay.
which hosts the Black Women Film Festival, and served as board chair for that organization for 2 terms. So film is near and
Thanks.
dear to my heart. Do you all mind if I go ahead and start recording?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, great. So we are rolling. And one of the things I wanted to start off with is congratulating you for what I think is your 15th anniversary.
Correct.
That's correct. Thank you.
Yes, I mean that's a long trajectory when we're talking about the film business, when we're talking about film festivals. So I really wanted to start with, what does it truly mean to you to be here at this 15-year mark, especially when you reflect back and think about that very first festival?
Wow. It means a lot. I mean, we remember the first festival like yesterday. I mean, it was about 10 of us in the Auburn Avenue Research Library. Not 10, but close to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But 15 years is a long time, when you really think about it. So we feel blessed that we're still here. We've assisted a lot of filmmakers over the years, and we've been a part of so many different lives, in this business. So I mean, feel blessed. That's all I can say.
JB, anything you want to add on top of that?
Sure. 15 years. A lot of businesses don't make it past 3 years. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and long nights, and learning how to control the river. The river, calling it like, a river out of control is a disaster. A river in control is energy. We had to learn that. We had to bump our heads a few times. We had a lot of large dreams and visions, and we had to match that with sponsor dollars. Sometimes that came and sometimes it didn't. Resources. A lot of honoring people that have gone before us and paved the way. And just 15 years is, relationships that, if I look back at, like even people like in marriages, because this business is a relationship. So you look at, it's all relative, like a marriage, it's like some people don't make it 15 years. So it's 15 years was amazing. If it all ended tomorrow, I'd be happy with what we've been able to accomplish. So just 15 years is like really, really a high standard. Plus knowing what we had to do and what we had to go through, and the resources we had and the resources we didn't have, and how it takes a village really came into play from Sweet Auburn all the way to Peachtree Village International Film Festival. Just, you know, well,
Glad you touching on that as
yeah,
you talk about really what it means to be an entrepreneur.
right.
And what it means to grind to get to a place where you actually can say, we've been doing this for 15 years. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking about the fact that it's Peachtree Village, you know, and how did you come to that as the name, as the moniker? And you just sort of touched on that a little bit, and I want you to elaborate on that.
Okay, well, it takes a village is a saying that we use back from our motherland. To my knowledge, it comes from Africa. When we talked about how it takes a village to raise a child, but you know, we started as Sweet Auburn International Film Festival on Auburn Ave back in 2006, and then we evolved to Peachtree Village International Film Festival, and just we had the mindset where, you know, we knew it would take a village. That whole mindset to achieve, you know, the things that we wanted to accomplish. So it was like we had to make sure that we were inclusive of everybody, and we wouldn't be here without everybody that helped us. You know, over the years, it's just like an incredible amount of people. I'll let Lynn elaborate some more on it, but that's, you know, just where I'm at right now on it. And then Lynn can chime in because, you know, he's you know, my partner.
Yeah, 15 years, like you said. So again, yeah, let us hear from you on that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just echoing what JB said, definitely it takes a village. And it all came together in terms of the name, just by realizing that we can't do it alone. We realized that the mom and pop store on the corner assisted us with being able to feed the youth that we had interning at the festival, or the t-shirt store across the street provided t-shirts for the entire staff, and the lady down around the corner assisted with passing out programs. So it takes a village. And I remember we were sitting down just talking about the previous festival, and we were thinking about a name, and that's what we came up with. It made sense. And we were able to put the Peachtree Village International Film Festival name together back in 2009. And that's been our name ever since. But, you know, that's the reason why we're here 15 years later, because of the village.
Because you have the village. You know, as someone who has been responsible for film festivals, I know the incredible amount of work that it really takes to pull something like it off. And, you know, I do want to commend you all for what you have been able to achieve and for making it to this 15-year mark. And I also want you all to talk a little bit about how you met and when you knew that ultimately you were made for partnership.
Wow, I mean,
Good question.
Yeah, good question. A lot of people ask us that. At the time, we were, you know, residing in the same condo building, and you know, I met JB, and we saw each other, you know, periodically, you know, walking by each other, whatever, and just asked the question, "What do you do?" You know, as neighbors, you know, a lot of us don't talk to each other anymore, you know. Asked the question, and he said, "Well, entertainment." And then that conversation turned into, okay, I do a little film, I do a little music. And coincidentally, that same evening, we were at the same event. at an event at Atlantic Station, a mixer. And again, you know, it was like, I saw you earlier. It was like, yeah. And then the conversation just continued. I gave him a card. At the time, it was probably, I was probably, I don't know, 5-6 years into the traveling exhibit that I curated, the African American Cinema Gallery. Just started the Hispanic Cinema Museum. And JV was actually, I believe he was on his laptop and he called me that night, later that night, and said, "This is interesting, the history of film, huh?" And that conversation led into a million other things. You know, coincidentally, we were actually at the start of planning the first festival when we had that conversation. And when I mentioned it to him, he said, "You know what, let's do this together." And, you know, the rest is history. 15 years later, we're still here.
Wow. That's in some ways I was thinking about the word serendipity, because it just didn't sound like coincidence to me.
Can I chime in a little bit?
Please.
All right. I remember. So we lived in this condo, right? And this building was huge. So it had different corridors. So one elevator would take you to one corridor, like an L, right? Mm-hmm. And another elevator would take you to another one. So one day, for some reason, I think I parked on one side or whatever, or I may have gotten dropped off. And I was going up the elevator to the corridor that I don't live on. I get on the elevator. It's Lynn and his fiance at that time, Nikki. I had a box of Church's fried chicken. Nikki is from Chicago, and she is very Chicago straightforward. Nikki said, "I want some of that chicken." Right? The chicken was smelling so good. And I just remembered laughing at her and saying, "No, you ain't getting none of this chicken." But I remember, I think that was the first time we ever saw each other.
Correct. It was.
But we were on the same floor, but different, and same building, same floor, but different corridor. Mm-hmm. Then I remember seeing Lynn again at a venue, and I believe that's when he like asked me, what did I do? And I was just retiring from some marketing that I had worked alongside Def Jam for 9 years in Atlanta and the whole state of North Carolina. And I was just like, well, music industry guy, but, you know, I heard that film is the progression from music. Like, you know, people would tell me certain things. So when he came to me with the idea of the festival, I was like, man, this is kismet. This is serendipity, like you said. This is what's next. This is what's supposed to be. So I immediately liked it. I don't know if I showed him my interest first, how much I liked it, what he said to me, because I was like being cautious because I didn't know him. But I was like, this was already kind of like written, and I had heard about it. Written, like, you know, when I say written, like it was already written by, like, you know, whatever, you know, it's supposed to be, right? So, but I didn't let him know how much I really liked what he said to me. But I was like, hey, okay, you got a budget, you got some money, you know, like it was like business. But I really liked what he said to me, and it only took me a few hours to say, hey, let's go. I'm down, and I think he came by my condo and we chopped it up a little bit, and we said that we're gonna do it, and we did it. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things that I also recognize just living here is that you all have definitely built a proven track record with the film festival.
Thank you.
The caliber of celebrities who are always involved. Beyond that, the interest from the film community here, as well as film enthusiasts. I was quite impressed with the official Oscar qualifier Those kinds of things are very important in a market like this. And so I just sort of wanted you all to touch on that, as well as part of just your structure in what you do. Talk to me a little bit about being an official Oscar qualifier, what that really means, and how that's a benefit for the festival.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, when you have a film festival, you have, or as curators of a film festival, directors of a film festival, we have an idea of the type of films and filmmakers you want to attract. And for us, we want to attract all types of films, but at the same time, we do want to attract great filmmakers. And I think the Academy Awards is really the pinnacle of an American filmmaker, and a lot of times, you know, filmmakers throughout the world. So to be able to give filmmakers an opportunity to showcase their film at our festival and be able to say, I was in an Academy or an Oscar qualifying festival, that means a lot to them and it means a lot to us, because showcasing and providing opportunity for filmmakers that's why we created the festival. Back in, I believe it was 2007, we had Binta and a Great Idea, which was a phenomenal short film that was nominated for an Oscar. And at that time, we wasn't an Oscar qualifying festival, but today we are. We felt that we had a hand in Binta's success,
Right.
You know, because we were a festival that they stopped by along their way. So now we're able to say, okay, now we're Oscar qualifying festival. So it means a lot to us for sure.
Yeah. Anything to add on that, JB?
Yes, it's exciting. Like Lynn mentioned, you know, the just being able to say that, you know, we were a part of your process. The Academy is amazing. We look at ourselves somewhat as a market as well, a film market, because of everything that comes to a festival. It's like a hub. So we show gratitude to the Academy, and we show gratitude to our filmmakers that struggle so hard to get their voices heard and their projects seen. And we also acknowledge people that don't get acknowledged, if that makes any sense. Over the years, we've been able to
heroes or the unsung. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Over the years, we've been really good at becoming philanthropists. I call us philanthropists and humanitarians, because we give to those that sometimes don't get recognized by the other larger academy or, you know, whatever platform. But the people, you know, really deserve the awards or the recognition. So we're gracious to be an Oscar qualifier. Binta and a Great Idea, like that film that came through, we weren't. Then, like Lynn mentioned, however, it was nominated for an Oscar, and it came through us, and it was part of the travels. So we're really excited about just being a qualifier, and it kind of puts a stamp on us as well. Like, hey, you know, these guys are, you know, this village is real. So, you know, but I think 15 years shows you're real as well. You know, but we really show gratitude just to be able to, you know, have people have their projects to be qualified through us for the Oscar. But, you know, we just look at everything as we help others as well, if that makes any sense. You know?
Yeah,
like,
it
I'm trying to say something, you know, I'm trying to say something that, you know, some people don't. Yeah,
you said it. I really think you did. And what I was gonna add to it, as I think about, you know, the Academy, we all know that it has been criticized in the past. In the last couple years, the Academy has actually been trying to do work you know, around diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, when you look at, I'm gonna call you all a resource, right? Because you're helping to build the pipeline, whether it's through known or unsung, right? Artists, writers, producers, if you will. And I think that there's something to be said about organizations like yours that step up to provide that platform and that role. And when I saw the Oscar qualifier stamp, that's also what it meant to me. You know, I think it was some corporate dude last week who was like, Black talent is hard to find. And the rest of us was sort of like, what? Because we all know
Right.
the proliferation of Black talent is just, you know, phenomenal. And it's
Massive.
all about whether you looking or not. And this film festival has certainly for 15 years been a resource if you're looking. You know, and it's right here in Atlanta, which we all know is one of the burgeoning areas as it relates to film. You know, we have emerged past North Carolina, Louisiana, where at one time, you know, we were all kind of competing in this southeast quadrant. But where Atlanta sits now, and then think about where Peachtree Village Film Festival sits right now. I mean, I think it's a pretty incredible story. And I'm really going to get to this year's festival because I do want you to talk to us about it, with this year being such an anomaly type year, you know, with COVID-19 and all of that happening, and just the innovations that you're bringing to this to ensure that the 15th is just as successful as the previous ones. You want to talk a little bit about this year with me?
Absolutely. This year obviously is very different, you know, in terms of what's going on in the world right now. The fact that, you know, we're in the midst of a pandemic and the festival is virtual. This is our, you know, first time, you know, having to do that. We talked about doing things online over the years and just never did it because we always, you know, just had a physical festival and really didn't have a huge need for it. But with that being said, this year we were forced to have a virtual festival. So we were able to take some ideas that we had and put them and merge them with the ideas that we had for a physical festival for this year, for our 15th anniversary. And this is what we came up with. It was like gumbo. So for us, I mean, it's exciting because it's different. And we never shy away from a challenge, and that's the thing. We know a lot of groups decided not to go forward this year, but we made the decision we're going to do it. We've been met with challenges, many challenges over the years. I mean, one year we had to push the festival back 30 days because of the hurricane season. Another year we just had all types of challenges. I mean, we had challenges with weather more than once, but and this year with the pandemic, we said we're not going to let that stop us either. So we kept going, and we're here. And I think the lineup that we have this year can really be compared to, you know, what we may consider our best year, you know, because of what we, you know, strive to do. So we're excited about what we're doing this year in a virtual environment.
JB, you want to add on top of that?
Sure. Well said, Lynn. Best year, not sure to me. Only because.
I know.
Ruby D is like the mother of Black film.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the year we did that with Mario Van Peebles, and Bow-Legged Lou and Full Force and Force and D's and Kim Fields and oh my God,
Bill Cobbs.
Tommy Ford and Bill Cobbs and Carl Payne and oh my God, that year was
So what year that was? You remember what year that one was?
2011.
That year was so amazing. However, being in the virtual environment, we didn't shy away from it. We took to the challenge. And Jeffrey Wright is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Hill Harper is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Anna Maria Horsford. Oh my God, such a woman. Legacy. We had a chance to hang out with her last week and just kick it with her, and just some of the things that she was saying and her spirit, her clear vision was kind of amazing. So each year kind of takes on its own personality, its own image, its own form, its own spirit. So each year is great. We realized that, you know, we were going like a lot more international this year. We have, you know, we have people out of Nigeria. We have Ozzy Aru out of America, but his family is, you know, from Cuba. And Ozzy was the president of Tyler Perry Studios for like 10 years plus.
Yeah. And then his brother struck out on their own.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And then we have, like I said, Anna Maria Horsford. I'm sorry, my computer is going in and out. Then we have, like I said, Hill Harper, incredible. Jeffrey Wright, incredible. Anna, incredible. Isaiah John from Snowfall. The young man, is his name Alex?
Alex Hibbert from The Shy
and Burgundy.
Burgundy Baker.
Yeah, we have some, and then we got Jock McKissick. That's just came off of this last season of Queen of the South. So we have some awesome diversity, and just because we're online, we get a chance to show the world, because we're international film festival. However, we focus a lot on our, you know, people of color, our content, but we're for everyone. But now we get a chance to be like more in everyone's homes because we're virtual, if that makes any sense. So we're super excited about that. So the virtual part, you know, it's like we took lemon and made a lemonade. Sometimes, you know, adversity strikes, and if it don't kill you, it might make you stronger, or it might make you crazy. But you can be crazy in a good way. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy, like good John Lewis used to say.
Exactly. And good trouble, like John Lewis, the great brother.
Yeah, good trouble.
Yeah, good trouble. And like Gnarls Barkley said, maybe I'm crazy because I know too much. So sometimes you get to that point where you're like, you know what? This could be, God bless all the families, all the people that have passed on from this crazy COVID garbage. However, you know, we're here now, and we're going to try and stay as healthy as we can and do our best to spread what we do to the world. And the virtual environment, you know, unfortunately, may be a good thing that we can use to help reach more people. Because normally we reach about 3,000 to 5,000 people on the walk-ups. We probably do about 1 million viewers normally on our website leading up to the festival. But we're looking at hopefully turning that into like reaching 1 million people with just like saying social media, email blasts, things like that, with our partners, our culture influencers, our companies, our corporations, our celebrities, and then maybe retaining maybe 1%. So maybe if we can like do a 10,000 festival attendees this year worldwide, we'd be very happy about that. Mm-hmm. So we're okay.
You're so modest. And I, you know, of course I get to say that as the being on the listening in. You know, you talked about drawing on talent from outside the U.S. And you lifted up Nigeria as an example as far as this year's festival. And you also talked about how being in this virtual platform this year gives you more broadness in terms of reach, right? Attracting others from the international market. When you think about the international films, how are they similar or different from the content that's being produced by Blacks here in the US that are featured in the festival this year?
You know, what's interesting is the films are just they're very competitive. Some of the international films are arguably better than some of the others. And we say arguably, obviously, because everyone has their own opinion, right? You know, as it relates to what they like in filmmaking and what they like to see on screen. I will say this year we have a few really, really strong international films, really strong international films. And we will say it's going to be an interesting award season next year, because we believe we have a couple of films that's going to compete, just based on, you know, what we think. We have some strong films, and a few of them just happen to be international films.
Very interesting. And thank you for speaking to that. JB, did you have some thoughts on international as well?
Yeah, I do. What I noticed is sometimes a person can get hold of a camera and think they're a filmmaker. However, there's a level of education you need to go through to understand lighting, to understand sound, to understand how to direct talent. And I would like for more, you know, people that grab these cameras to get an education. And that's what we're big on. We're big on education. We have some films, international films, that blow the socks off of some projects that might be coming from America. There's one film that I had a chance to view, and Lynn did as well, called State of Madness, out of Cuba. No, I'm sorry, out of
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, Dominican Republic. Oh my God, you should see this film, and it's all in subtitles. So it makes you kind of like have to focus, like The Passion of Christ was. But if you can focus, and it's about mental health. Oh my God, this film should be an Oscar award winner. And a lot of people are calling for it, but it's amazing. So, and it's based off a true story as well. So just sometimes we get these anomalies in these pieces, and this is an international project. It's amazing. So we're looking for some also good films coming out of Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa. So we have, like, you know, we run the gamut. We have some Brazilian counterparts this year. So we also have people in Britain and England, because a lot of the African counterparts are also in Britain and England. So we're pretty worldwide this year, and we're excited about it. Looking forward for more Asian content out of Korea, and out of China and Japan. So we're just like really excited. But the international market, they really, really, really make great products, man. It's just like about programming. Sometimes they're not put out there for us to know that they're so good. So we have to do a little bit of searching, but that's what we're here for as well. As the film festival, we kind of get our hands on a lot of different pieces, and we're able to show Nollywood, Bollywood, and Hollywood. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
When you were speaking, the word that came to my mind was curators. That you are curating these films. That really, it's a two-way process where while there are some, because you've been around for 15 years, already know to be looking for the submission time and that, and sharing it with their friends. But at the same time, you all are actively working as curators as well, to undergird PVIFF. And I think that's an important point of note, because it speaks to your leadership, not just as entrepreneurs, but as film curators, if you will, especially with your museum in historical backgrounds. Anyway, it kind of makes perfectly good sense. So that's exciting. And now you got me thinking about this film, the one that you called out by title, focused on mental health. So I'll be interested.
We need to send you that. We need to send you that.
Yeah, it's a great
I think
film.
get you that. We can get your screener.
Yeah, I would love to. It sounds very, very interesting. And would be good to highlight as part of the coverage, since you mentioned it in this interview. The other thing I was going to ask you all about is, where do you see the festival going? Here you are at the 15 mark. As you think about the future, what can we anticipate?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think one of the natural progression for us is really just being even more of a resource to filmmakers, right? And one of the things that has been a part of our plan for a little while now is really progressing and adding a market component to what we're doing. Just adding what the American film market is to LA, and what Cannes is to France. Just basically doing that here, and bringing that whole Berlin piece. So if you look at the American film market, look at Cannes, look at Berlin, adding all of those market components to what PVIFF is, I think that's what we will where we would love to be in the future here. So it's obviously it's a large undertaking, but I think where we are today from where we were was a large undertaking. So I know we can do it.
JB, talk to me on international. You look like you are thinking and then about to add some additional science here.
Well, to be honest with you, some great minds steal and some great minds think alike. So I don't want to give away too many of our trade secrets. However, like Lynn said, looking at becoming a marketplace, because we kind of like already have all the components that make up the market. If you think about a market, you have your butcher, you have your veggies, you have your whatever. We have a lot of those components. And future-wise, the future, we like to get some deals with some networks to where we can be that curator, that aggregator of content and make money. Because, we like to give, we like to be humanitarians, we like to be philanthropists, but you got to have resources to keep that going. You have to have that fuel to fly, and sustain. Sustainability is important to us. So we have to have those first look deals with some networks, whether it be Swirl Films to Netflix, to HBO, whoever, to TV One, to whoever. We have to have those first look deals. To Aru Brothers Studios, we have to have that access to be able to keep creating and having that flow through. So that's what we're looking at also for the future, without giving away too many trade secrets, because like I said, it's funny out here. People hear you and they might have a relationship over here that you didn't have, and they'll jump on what you said
Mm-hmm.
because they had a relationship, but they didn't have the idea. So we just got to be mindful about, what we say, who we say it to. But, we're not stopping. We're not afraid. We like to give our ideas, but we also like to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? We want to benefit.
Yeah, we want to monetize our ideas.
Right, monetize. We
Yeah.
want to benefit and monetize off of our relationships as well. So, it's a lot that can happen. But we had to stay in power. God's got us, and we've been here for a while, and God willing, we'll just keep going forward and keep helping some younger people that we can help bring up in this business, and they can kind of like take what we started and keep it going, and we can leave a legacy, and God willing, they can just keep going, and make some beautiful minds be heard and seen, and make some money, because we live in a world that is we gotta make money to
It requires it. Yeah, it requires it.
It's just keeping it real, right? Just keeping
Yep.
it real. I really know no other way. So yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing your vision for the future. I think it's very, very important. And the way in which you have really framed it, really to me taps into the reality of where we are in this industry. The ability to make a film, one of you already kind of spoke to this, the paradigm has been broken down. So if you got a camera, can get access to editing, either resources with people, or through your own platform, and you have some skills, because you also mentioned that, right? That line between truly telling stories and quality, versus no education and let me just just jump out here and start this thing. But the content market is wide open. The way in which the market is situated, if you can come with quality output, then there are places where deals can be made. And I say that having worked with the Black Women Film Network, but I also say that as a person who has produced 2 documentaries, one that aired on BET and one that aired on Georgia Public Broadcasting, and Public Broadcasting Atlanta. And I'm gonna date myself because it's been about 7 years since I worked in the space, but I was able to make those things happen because I stepped up with quality product, that they could look at and say, oh yeah, this meets the threshold for being aired. And I think the market has just cracked open, as it relates to that, because it's sort of lowered the cost for the industry in some ways, those who had the keys. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that. I think it's you didn't give away you didn't get a baby away with the bathwater, but you did give us just a little bit of a nugget of what we can watch for as we continue to follow PVIFF. Let's see how I'm doing on time. I think I just have a few more minutes. So there are 2 questions that I always like to ask before we close an interview. One is there anything that we didn't talk about, but that you want to make sure viewers know about PVIFF, either this year's festival or the organization as a whole? Anything that we didn't talk about that you want to highlight?
Wow.
Yeah, Lane.
No, I was just gonna say, you did a phenomenal job in terms of touching on various things. It's not much, I would say. I guess one thing that we'll say that we didn't talk much about is that we're active in the community. So it's not just the festival just one time a year. Our goal is to really raise the next generation of filmmakers. So we're in the community, giving back, helping those young minds, to turn into the next Spike Lee, the next Steven Spielberg, the next Martin Scorsese. And the way that we're doing that is not necessarily just through filmmaking classes. It's the reading and the writing, the basics. And that's what, you know, we're really, really sticklers on is educating our youth and ensuring that they have opportunities that a lot of us didn't even have sometimes. That's really important to us, and we want to do a lot more of that. And the only way we can do it is with the support of the village, as we said. So we are always looking for partners in any facet, and it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about time. You know, can you give us your time? You know, can you give us your facility? Can you do this? You know, we're here to help, and we're here to be a resource as well. So we don't talk about that a lot. We just do. We do, and a lot of times we don't ask, and we don't, you know, mention the things that we do. But those are things that we offer, and we provide the community. So just wanted to make that known.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Critically important. JB, what point of note you haven't shared that you want to layer on top of that, or that may be different?
I like the community aspect. I like what you said. I'm really big on helping children. Children are the future. It takes a village. You gotta focus on the young minds. There's so many people out here that learn differently than others. So somebody might be diagnosed as ADHD, but it might be the wrong person teaching. Sometimes it takes the right approach to get the desired effect. So somebody might be autistic on a certain spectrum, a certain level, but you know, with the right instruction, the right teacher, they can become Rain Man or Rain Woman. You know, it's about knowing certain people and knowing where they are. But I want to congratulate you also, as you know, like Lynn said it first when he first started answering that question. He talked about you. And I was thinking the same thing, and I'm glad me and him are on the same page. And I think that's that part that we think alike on certain things. But you've done a lot. You know, we're proud to have you interviewing us, and we're also looking at you as you speak to us. 7 years since your last project, like you just mentioned, we opened the door for you as well. You can come to us, and you can work with us. We're open. We're open door. We're a revolving door. So we're proud to have you doing what you've done, and just to say, you know, all lives matter. Mm-hmm. Black lives matter. Good trouble matters, and we're excited to keep going and keep pushing. One thing I learned about Atlanta, Georgia, it's got a lot of culture, a lot of that hard fight. When we started on Auburn Avenue, from the top of Cortlandt Street all the way down to Dr. Martin Luther King's house, was about 300,000 or 400,000 people at the Sweet Auburn Spring Fest, and we were just a part of that. Our beginnings. I learned so much, you know. And I grew up in New York. And it was like a culture all around me, from the Jews to the Muslims to the Christians to the Buddhists. But just being in Atlanta, Georgia, just gave me more culture, and I really appreciate it. I love Atlanta for what Atlanta is. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing, but I love Atlanta. And
silence that in the interview, but we understand that's the sign. That's the sign of the business. That's the sound of
I reached over and got it. But I just wanted to say I love Atlanta, and we're open for good business, if that makes any sense. Even in COVID, and we welcome you as well, and we're gracious to you, and we love helping the community. So if I summed it all up, I summed it all up just now.
Well, you did so, and you did so well, and I just want to say how humbled I am to receive this love and this invitation during this interview. I have actually been looking forward to our conversation, and was talking to Larry last night about it again, because I have been following your work, and you all are stalwarts in this business, and probably aren't told that regularly. Your heads down doing the work, You're humanitarians, and that is incredibly important in Atlanta as the disparity gets wider and wider between the haves and the have-nots. So I just want to say thank you again for all that you're doing. And I'm going to look forward to sharing the interview once we edit and put it together. And also, I wanted to invite you not to forget to send us the link to the screener.
Okay.
And you can send that to our Fire Media email. And I'll look forward to taking a look at that as well. And I look forward to being in touch. We'll do this again.
Okay.
Absolutely. We look forward to it.
I'm a follower now. And I also have that invitation in my head. So I will look forward to keeping in touch.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.